Good morning. It is about 1:15. You know, listen, today the largest cancer center in the world announced that it is in a position to radically reduce the death rate from several common cancers. Maybe you know someone who's fighting some of these. And they're not indicating someday in the far off future. They're indicating very soon. And CNN Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta got an exclusive interview with the researchers in their Texas lab.
We're in a position to make dramatic impact on cancer mortality in this decade.
You're saying if we do everything right, in 5 years from now, there'll be far fewer people dying from cancer, right?
Correct. I think that with the existing knowledge and the application of what we now know, we could begin to see dramatic declines in mortality that would accelerate in years 5 through 10 and beyond, set the stage for ultimate control of the disease.
Well, this sounds great, doesn't it? And it sounds big, and Dr. Sanjay Gupta joins us live now. They mean specific cancers.
They do, and just to give you an idea of how big, I mean, this is the largest cancer center in the world, as you point out. They call this a moonshot program, sort of conjuring up the image of what President Kennedy tried to do with putting a man on the moon. They really think by the end of this decade they can have many of these cancers under control, learning about your genes, for example, and giving specific medications for an individual, as opposed to, sort of the gunshot approach.
So which cancers are we talking about? Lung?
There's several. Yeah, there's melanoma, lung cancer. I think we have a list specifically of the 8. Prostate cancer as well, breast cancer, and the triple negative, Robin, which can be the hardest to treat. Yeah. Also the triple negative ovarian cancer. You can look at the list. I mean, these are some of the biggest cancers. Lung cancer on that list, as you may know, Robin, it's a #1 killer among cancers. So this is where they want to make a dent.
This isn't something rare that you don't hear of anyone getting here. But they mentioned that their intent here is to cure. I mean, I've heard that in charities and fundraisers and studies for years.
Right, and you want to take it with a grain of salt, I think, and that's appropriate. We heard this from a president in the past, President Nixon. I think now you have a large cancer center which has the most clinical trials going on around the world, is taking lots of information from different labs and putting it together. They're the ones that are saying this. This is a really hard time to even get cancer funding, Robin, so to take this on is a big deal. I mean, they're going to spend $3 billion on this project over the next 10 years.
So for something, they must feel pretty confident. Otherwise, you would not come out and say this and put yourself on a ledge like that, would you?
I think you're absolutely right. And, even as a medical journalist, you want to be very, very careful. But these are the guys who are saying it. The president of MD Anderson Cancer Center, a cancer doctor himself, is saying that we are using the word cure now in what our objectives are. We're going to dramatically, by 50% reduce the risk of melanoma deaths, lung cancer deaths over the next few years. I mean, it's gigantic news.
Now, to play the devil's advocate, in saying this, would that get them more grants and more money for the cancer research?
It might. A lot of these places are funded by, like a division of the United States government through the National Cancer Institute, and money is dry. I mean, it's just there's been a lot of shrinkage of these fundings overall.
So you're a doctor, and we sent you kind of as our ambassador. You go check it out. What really impressed you?
I visited the labs. They gave me some really incredible access into these labs. I think when you think about cancer overall, it's about screening people, it's about detecting the cancer early, and then obviously about treatment. I think what struck me is that this is a wildly sophisticated cancer place, but they are also looking at how to best screen people for melanoma, for example. Lung cancer. Who are the people that get lung cancer? Can we start screening them from an early age? Not just smokers, so what is it about them? So I think it's really across the whole gamut, from preventing cancers in the first place to treating the most aggressive cancers.
So if this all works out and true, can you give me an idea about how huge a story or development that would be?
Well, I think right now it's a huge story. I think within the next, we could talk about this hopefully often, but over the next few years, I think, you're talking about the biggest killer really in the industrialized world. Cancer deaths surpass heart attack deaths, cardiac deaths. So this is a huge burden, not only in places like the United States, but also in places I visit around the world in Africa. So you can really have a significant impact.
Okay, he has a special show, guys. Sanjay Gupta, MD, Chasing a Cure, is on CNN Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, Sunday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Did they say exactly how soon?
Well, they say within the next 5 years, dramatically reduce the number of deaths, but as far as cures for these cancers by the end of the decade.
All right. Thank you very much, Sanjay.
You got it. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you.